What the position 5 wants to do here, they want to actually constantly pull this wave back here, right? And so then they can pull the wave back, and they want to keep it as close as possible, keep it outside of the tower range, which is about approximately here. I can't see the line right now, but basically it's right here, right? So that if any ganks happen, they can just be like, oh, I'll just back up into the tower and I'm fine. Plus, when you're under tower, you get this. You get tower protection, which is, you know, different tiers give you different levels of armor, different levels of regen, but the tier 1, which is actually the most important in the laning, obviously, it's going to give you 3 armor, it's going to give you 1 regen. Okay, so that's kind of why the Radiant side, in this case, wants it as close as possible. This is actually too close. Now the tower's actually going to start killing some of these creeps, and is actually going to push the lane, and it's going to push it even further, right? And then just like vice versa, this is the tower range, approximately, again, for the Dire. And where they want it, the creep wave is right about here, right outside of tower wave. Or tower range, excuse me. So in the same sign, in the same sense, that is, basically, if you know they see ganks or you know there's any sort of movement or whatever, middle is missing, what do? They just back up into the tower. They get the same tower protection, and it will protect them. Okay, so how does the Dire need to do this, right? So it's like a constant battle, because if it's in a perfect spot for Radiant, this guy doesn't need a pull, right? If it's right outside, but if the lane is pushed somewhere out here, where their carry's struggling to get some last hits, that's when, in this case, the position 5 here would have to do the pulls. Obviously, stacking and then pulling is the best case scenario. This one, the position 4 needs to stop that pull, assuming that it's in a good spot. So this guy needs vision to this camp, because he needs to understand the movements of the position 5 here. Okay? That's what this guy's job is to do. Secondly, if the lane is pushing this hard, he has plenty of space where this creep wave here is actually going to start pulling down, or it's going to come on down, excuse me, get into the lane. And then right here, he's going to actually look to cut the, or I mean, he doesn't need to cut the tree, but he can. It'll make it a little bit easier because the lines are a little bit easier. But basically, he can pull this, right, into this camp, or into this creep. And so the camps will obviously go here. This lane will eventually push, and then whatever's stuck left over or whatever, Axe can kind of tank that and just bring it back to where he wants it, right? So it's kind of like a yin and yang, like a little bit of a tango in the sense of like, what is your sole job, right? This guy's job is to space, steal money, and he can't really do that because of the fact that it's so close under tower. Like, this is super dangerous, right? You don't dive under tower to just get some Janata hits, okay? So that's what the position 4 does. Obviously, this is what the position 5 do. And that's why these two guys, honestly, I mean, these guys can have last hit all day, but generally speaking, the things that they need to do is easier, right? They just need a last hit, zone it out, and that's pretty much it, right? Whereas these guys need to kind of react to what everything's doing. They dictate the pace of the lane. What is going on, what things need to happen. And also they need to communicate and to ensure that their carry or the offlane, or whichever's, going to be doing. If they're pulling, they need to communicate these things, right? Okay, so let's just go back into your view.